Hi everyone, welcome to 6Win's vRouter webinar, where we will discuss how vRouters replace hardware routers for service provider use cases. My name is Eva Bonodo, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Joining me today are Kelly Leblanc, 6Win's VP of Marketing, and Karim Shirki, 6Win Solutions Architect. You can ask your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of the page. We will answer the questions at the end of the webinar in the order that they are received. Let's get started. I will now turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you, Eva. Hello, my name is Kelly LeBlanc, VP of Marketing for 6Wind. Today I'm going to introduce 6Wind's vRouter for service provider use cases. 6Wind is a high-performance networking software company with a focus on vRouters for white box networking. Our vRouters are available in 3 different software packages. The first is our 6Wind Gate software, which is source code for Linux networking. 6Wind Gate includes complete and modular layer 2 through 4 networking stacks. Here we help our OEM customers build their own vRouter technology and more, including a full range of additional networking equipment and solutions. The second are software appliances called TurboRouter and TurboIPsec. These vRouters are ready to run appliances for customers who build and operate networks. The third is virtual infrastructure software for hypervisor networking. These vRouters boost virtual networking and switching performance inside NFV platforms such as Nuage Networks AVRS and Contron SimCloud. Our software runs on market-leading processors that leverage DPDK for performance, including x86 and ARM. We've been solving networking performance challenges for our network builder and OEM customers who are using our vRouter technology for over a decade now. Our customer list is impressive, with a large global reach, including servicing over 90% of 4G networks in Japan, the top service providers in the US and EMEA, and more. These customers use our software with standard tools such as Linux on commodity hardware to solve some of the largest networking challenges in the industry. In today's webinar, we will discuss vRouters for service provider use cases. I will start with a quick summary of our vRouter features and performance. Then I will discuss 3 use cases where we are seeing service provider success. These include core router, uCPE, and vBNG use cases. Let's start with an overview of 6Wind's vRouter features and performance. 6Wind's vRouter can be deployed in bare metal and virtual machine configurations. It serves as an alternative to expensive hardware-based routers as it delivers the same traditional routing and security features with similar performance and both traditional and IT-style management. We have no interest in vendor lock-in. 6Wind's vRouter is open to any COT server hardware that you select. 6Wind vRouter features include IPv4, IPv6 networking with support for VRFs, BGP, OSPF dynamic routing, tunneling, NAT, PPPoE and L2TP client server, ACLs, GRE, VLAN, VXLAN encapsulations, lag, high availability, and more. Our customers deploy 6Wind's vRouter as an edge router, a core router, within public and private clouds, inside uCPE and BNG solutions, and more. IPsec VPN functionality is available through IPsec and IKE features for customers that need secure VPN tunnels and connections between sites, data centers, or mobile infrastructure. Performance is important for vRouter solutions as software and virtualization replace hardware. At 6Wind, we do benchmark tests for our customers that can be helpful when designing networks. On an Intel Atom processor, which is popular for uCPE use cases, our vRouter software performance for IP forwarding is 3.6 million packets per second per core. For IPsec, we achieve 1.35 gigabits per second per core. For use cases with higher performance requirements, such as core routers and BNGs, you can see our Intel Xeon Platinum processor numbers with 12 million packets per second per core of IP forwarding and 18 gigabits per second per core of IPsec. With 6WIN vRouters, performance scales linearly with the number of cores. So if you need more performance, simply add more cores to your vRouter deployment. Now, let's start with our service provider use case examples. The first is for core routers. You may have read the recent news in SDX Central that Minorisa, an internet service provider based in Spain, successfully migrated its infrastructure and adopted 6WIN vRouters as core routers for its network. After running out of throughput capacity for its legacy hardware routers, Minorisa evaluated 6WIN's 40 gig vRouters as a replacement option to meet immediate requirements for its growing ISP business. 6WIN's vRouters also helped Minorisa's broader architecture transition to white box networking by replacing its legacy Cisco and MikroTik hardware with software. Let's take a look at Minorisa's ISP core router use case. Minorisa required a reliable high-performance router with BGP, OSPF, lag, VLAN, filtering, and high availability features to connect directly to its service provider networks for 40 gig upstream and downstream network traffic across multiple data centers. Hardware router options from Cisco and Juniper were available to meet Minorisa's growth requirements, but also increased its cost while lacking the software flexibility to assist in its broader transition to white box networking. Upon testing completion, Minorisa selected 6WIN vRouters to meet its feature and performance requirements while complementing overall design goals without increasing costs. Minorisa's decision was based on 3 design considerations. The first is scalable performance. 6WIN vRouters allowed Minorisa to move from 10 to 40 to 100 gig throughput without redesigning its network. The second is compact infrastructure design. 6WIN vRouters are deployed on standard 1 and 2 rack unit servers, reducing Minorisa's overall data center footprint. The third is SDN readiness. 6WIN vRouters include open APIs for integration with third-party and open-source software-defined networking managers and orchestrators. This supports Minorisa's broader transition to white box networking. Now, let's look at our second example, which is uCPE. uCPE stands for Universal Customer Premises Equipment. It's a hot topic in the networking industry right now as it brings virtualization to CPE equipment. Applications are software-based in the form of virtual networking functions on hypervisors within commercial off-the-shelf or COT servers. Virtualization brings many benefits, including flexibility in the subscription and deployment of value-added services for end customers and overall cost reduction. Deployments include hardware and software from multiple vendors and automated provisioning of services, which is also called zero-touch provisioning. vRouters are required in all uCPE infrastructure to provide routing, switching, and even security features and software. Here you can see 6WIN vRouter deployed within uCPE solutions at business customer sites. vRouters are required as the networking foundation for uCPE solutions. In today's market, vRouters must be ready to deploy on multiple uCPE hardware architectures, including x86 and ARM. They should include rich features as required by uCPE use cases, including IPOE, PPPoE, filtering, NAT, QoS, IPsec VPN, traffic management, and much more. vRouter should also include the correct APIs for built-in monitoring, key performance indicators, and third-party orchestrators. Here's an example of a 6WIN vRouter in an x86 uCPE use case on Intel Atom processors. We recently published the results of a customer test we conducted on an Atom C2000 platform running multiple vRouter features including bridging, routing, NAT, and QoS with WAN and LAN features. Using one core, we compared 6WIN vRouter versus standard Linux on one core. 6Wind achieved 1 gigabit per second of bidirectional traffic, while Linux achieved only 150 megabits per second. So if you need 1 gigabit per second for your uCPE, this can be achieved in a 2-core Atom processor using 1 core for the data plane packet processing and 1 core for the control plane. For Linux to achieve 1 gigabit per second, you would need an 8-core processor. In the case of 6Wind vRouters, uCPE vendors can enjoy savings of around $60 or around 50 euros per CPU processor. Here's an example of our vRouter in an ARM uCPE use case. This is the CyberTAN white box uCPE platform featuring Marvell's Armada 8040 system on a chip based on the ARM Cortex-A72 quad-core processor with up to 2 GHz CPU clock speed. It runs Telco Systems NFV Time uCPE operating system, 6Wind's vRouter, and Trend Micro's security virtual network function. This is a good example of multiple vendors working together to give the industry an alternative and competition through an ARM-based uCPE solution. This year, starting at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Telco Systems, Marvell, 6Wind, and Trend Micro demonstrated this ARM-based uCPE solution's zero-touch provisioning feature. This demonstration showed how to seamlessly add a new customer, which we call Customer A on the top right, to the network. Telco Systems NFV Time OS facilitated the entire process of deploying 6Wind's vRouter onto the uCPE for Customer A, demonstrating automated management and orchestration for uCPE services. Now we will review our third use case example for virtual BNG. A broadband network gateway, or BNG, is a router function that is used in internet service provider environments, usually where DSL or cable is used as the last mile access. BNG is also referred to by its first name, Broadband Remote Access Server, or BRAS, as it is called out in the DSL forum documents as a Broadband Service Router, or BSR. The CPE, which includes the DSL or cable modem, is connected to the Multi-Service Access Node, or MSAN. This MSAN is either a digital subscriber line access multiplexer, or DSLAM, in case of DSL networks, or a cable modem termination system, or CMTS, in the case of cable networks. The DSLAM and CMTS devices convert the signal to Ethernet and forward it to the access network. This connection is then terminated on a BNG device before it enters the rest of the network and the internet. BNGs have two unique functions. The first is for authenticating the client if it has the right to enter the network. The second is to enforce the subscription in terms of bandwidth limits and services promised to the client. vRouters can be a critical infrastructure foundation to build virtual BNG solutions. When we speak to our customers for their vBNG requirements, we first check features and performance. For performance, with a vBNG, software is replacing hardware, so the vRouter must have comparable high performance. 6Wind's vRouter has the performance for 14,000 subscribers per vBNG. We deliver 10 gigabits per second of throughput per core when enabling numerous key features. Our performance scales with the number of cores designated to the vRouter. Subscriber authentication, authorization, and accounting features are required to integrate with Radius for policy enforcement and traffic management. Operations and management features are also important to consider with specific features such as connection monitoring per user. 6Wind's vRouter delivers both traditional CLI-based management and IT-style management based on NetConf interfaces and Yang data models. Now for a use case example. Here you can see 6Wind's vRouter deployed with a vBNG solution at an internet service provider customer site. In this use case, 6Wind's vRouter interfaces with Radius for authentication, authorization, and accounting. Internet service providers can rely on 6WIN's vRouter rich features, including per-flow traffic shaping, per-interface traffic shaping, and a per-user fair usage policy to promote a variety of subscription plans. These features allow service providers to define customer-based bandwidth limits so that customers can enjoy their purchase bandwidth per month at full speed and prohibit them from exceeding their total purchase bandwidth levels to make sure everyone gets the best experience from their chosen price plan. All of this is controlled by the radius. Furthermore, 6WIN's vRouter has built-in monitoring key performance indicators, or KPIs, that in conjunction with InfluxDB and Grafana, provide a reliable way to centralize monitoring and management of deployed BNG instances. In this use case described here, 6WIN's vRouter also provides NATing and NAT logging functionalities. These features are relevant for small or mid-sized deployments where a standalone CGNAT solution is out of budget. You can also find these two features in our CGNAT solution. 6WIN handles all of these functions in our vRouter. Our vRouter for this specific customer's vBNG use case is running on an x86 server, specifically a Supermicro Intel Xeon server platform. For this use case, the customer requested a comparison versus MikroTik using the same hardware platform. 6WIN's vRouter is capable of handling 3 times more users per BNG session and achieving 4 times more forwarded throughput versus MikroTik's BNG solution. So with 6WIN vRouter, operators can use less hardware platforms to manage their users while providing them with more bandwidth capacity. This translates into a significant improvement not only on CapEx and OpEx, but also on quality of service. In summary, 6WIN's vRouter is available to meet serious networking requirements for service providers. We have the performance with 12 million packets per second per core, the full set of routing and IPsec features, and virtualization readiness to deploy in bare metal or virtual machine configurations today with a seamless migration path with the same software. 6WIN vRouter provides both traditional CLI-based management and IT-style management based on automation and integration with high-level orchestration tools. For this, 6WIN vRouter proposes Yang-based netconf and REST APIs. We also support standard Linux APIs such as IPRoute and IPtables. Configuration can happen through Linux, the CLI, and APIs for integration with third-party management tools and orchestrators. Finally, for monitoring, we support the traditional SNMP and syslog mechanisms, plus telemetry through SFlow and graphical analytics with time series database, including pre-integration with InfluxDB and Grafana. Our data models leverage Yang and are therefore easily understandable and extensible. Now I will turn it back to Eva for the Q&A session where 6WIN solution architect Karim Shirki will join now to answer your product questions in real time. Karim worked with our customers on the use cases we've just discussed and will be pleased to answer your specific questions.
Thank you, Kelly. Let's answer the questions we received. So the first question from the audience is, what is the licensing policy for 6WIN's vRouter? Is it per use case?
Okay, thank you, Eva. So to answer this question, we have, in fact, we have different level of licenses. Our licenses are not per use case based, but are per instance and per throughput. And we have a variety of licensing levels, leveraging from 1 gig to 100 gig.
Thank you, Karim. So next question, is the 6WIN vRouter capable of handling a BGP full route?
Thank you. Yes, this is an interesting question, in fact. Yes, all of our vRouter products, including TurboRouter and Turbo IPsec, support the BGP full route. So whatever license level you have, 1 gig, 200 gig, the provided product will support the full BGP route.
Excellent. Next question. What are the minimum requirements to run the vBNG solution?
Okay, so what are the minimum requirements to run the BNG solution? Yeah, in fact, BNG solution, a minimum requirement to run a BNG solution are the same that we have for all our vRouter products. So these are accessible through our website. So you can visit www.sixwind.com, and you have all the data sheet there that we share online. Just to sum up, a vRouter, a 6-wind vRouter needs only 6 gig of RAM to run, and compatible NICs, and of course a CPU, either ARM or Intel. And we list on our website the list of CPUs and the list of NICs that we support.
Another questions we received is the vRouter solution ready to deploy on the virtualized environments?
Yes. The vRouter we provide, in fact, is delivered in different binary format. So when we deliver our vRouter product, we provide different binary images that cover bare metal and virtualized environment. So when we speak about virtualized environment, it includes KVM, VMware, etc., etc. So yes, the vRouter solution is ready to deploy on a virtualized environment.
Another question: Are there any limitations when deployed in virtualized environments?
Okay, so for this question, in fact, when we deliver the binaries, these binaries, as I said for the previous question, can be used for bare metal deployment, but also for virtualized environment. The limitations that can apply in this case when we run on virtualized environment are not linked to the vRouter itself, but this limitation, if any, will be linked to the hypervisor limitation. So if the vSwitch running on the hypervisor is capable of delivering required performance, so the vRouter will run as if it was running on a bare metal solution.
We still have room for questions. Do not hesitate to make the most of this session. So we just got one. Can you describe your support for VRFs?
Yes. So, sorry, can you mute? Thank you. So support of VRF. In fact, we can see in the slides Kelly already shared that all our vRouter products support VRFs. So we have a full support of VRF in our product, and all of this can be accessible on our website again. So you can check the online documentation that we provide to have a full detail on the supported features and including the VRFs.
Thank you, Karim. Another question we received is, does 6wind provide the full VNG solution, including AAA, monitoring, and management part?
Okay, So that was, in fact, that was not clear in the slide we shared already. Yes, in fact, we described in this webinar a solution that we implemented for one of our customer, where we interface with an AAA tool, which is Radius, and where we interface also with some monitoring interfaces. What we provide in 6Wind are APIs to connect and interact with this standard authentication, authorization, and monitoring tools. This for the Radius part, in fact, we don't provide the Radius. We provide the API for interacting with it. For the management part, we also provide KPIs, and we provide this KPI to interact with third-party management tools. But we also provide some pre-builds and pre-integration with tools like Grafana and FlexDB, so that we can collect the data and display this data for the end user to monitor the vRouter solution. And all of this is centralized in a unique UI.
Thank you, Karim. I think we've covered all the questions we received. So if you like what you saw in our webinar and would like to evaluate 6Wind's vRouter, please submit your request in our online form at 6wind.com. On our website, you will also find our product information, regularly updated blog roll, and registration for our monthly webinar series. The webinar is now ending. Thank you, and we hope to see you again soon.